Well, I just got back from vacation and I did quite a bit of projects on my way there and leading up to leaving. I have 3 things that I've made in preparation as well as during the trip that I would like to share with you because a lot of them were last minute and I'm actually very proud of the progress that I had made on them. This is everything that I made on my trip to Calgary. If you haven't heard of Calgary before, it is a city in Alberta, Canada. I was visiting there for my brother's wedding. And I had some things that I needed and just some projects to keep me busy while traveling to and from because it was quite a trek for me and my family. If you saw my last video, I was trying on every single dress I have that I have handmade. Some from like 15 years ago and others that were more recent. But I was trying to find something to wear to the wedding, and obviously it would have been a lot easier if I had just picked one of those dresses, but it didn't feel right. For every other wedding I've gone to, I've either been able to make something or find something that I can transform to wear for the wedding. For this wedding, I was very behind on schedule, and so I had only a few options left. A few of the dresses that I had handmade that I've worn in the past were all right, but they didn't really fit the feel of the wedding. So I had another dress that my sister had given me that she had bought for, I think, another wedding that she was going to, and gave it to me to use in any way that I wanted. So that usually means that I'm going to make something out of it and cut it up. Thank you, sister, for letting me do this to your dress. It started out as a black satin dress, and I was able to transform it into a 2-piece outfit, which seemed a lot easier than I thought. If you saw my last video, I made a sketch of what I was hoping to make, and I think I got pretty close. Unfortunately, I was going to reuse the zipper at the back of the dress. Because I wanted to keep the hem at the bottom of the dress, that meant that I had to shorten the dress from the waist, which also meant that I was cutting into the zipper. So the only reasonable thing that I could do was take out the zipper, move it down, and then put it back into the skirt. I was trying to sew as fast as I could on satin, so granted there were a few mistakes that I made in the zipper, but not enough to make me try again or risk any more time on the zipper. As you can see, it's not perfect. There is a little bit of rippling and puckering here, and the stitching is a little janky over here, but it's at the back of the dress. I'm okay with it being a little bit uneasy, but I was able to get a solid piece out of it. Because I only have dance fabric at my disposal, I had to use some holographic stretch lycra on the opposite side, which is black, to finish off the lining. I stretched it a little bit as I was sewing, so it gave a little bit more of a give to the waist as we are having dinner and then dancing afterwards. So you're moving around, you're eating. It was like the perfect thing to add to this, even though it was holographic on the other side. But this one turned out pretty nice. It only took a little bit longer than I thought. I think this took about an hour and a half. After I had to change up the zipper, fix the waistband, and just make it fit a little bit nicer to my hips. So this one turned out pretty nice. I said I was going to make it a 2-piece, and that I did. The dress that I was coming from didn't have a lot of fabric as it had a really wide open back. So I was kind of limited in what I could do and had to take pieces from the lower part of the dress that I had cut off once I had shortened the dress. This is the top I made. It is a straight across neck with these mesh sleeves. The dress that I was cutting up had these straps that had all these pearls going across the straps. If you can't tell, I love pearls, and so I knew that I had to incorporate these back into the dress. And because I was running low on satin, for the back I just used up some mesh and made this gathered in back and added some elastic to kind of pull it in tight. These straps are more decoration than anything, and I kept having to put them back onto my shoulders, which could have been solved by putting like a piece of like fashion tape there to make sure that they stayed. I didn't have any, so I just had to kind of sling them back on. But it did hold up pretty well as just like a tube top, which was very reassuring because when you're dancing and sweating, you want to make sure that your top doesn't fall down. So thankfully, the elastic that I had put in had safeguarded me so that didn't happen. But together, I think that this set turned out really nice, and I'm very proud of making both pieces in 4 hours. This one turned out really cute, and I'm very proud to have this completed and worn in time for the wedding. That's everything that I had made in preparation for Calgary. But because I'm a person that can't sit still without something in my hands or doing something, I wanted to take some things to travel with and some projects that I could work on while we're traveling. And luckily for me, that is knitting or crochet, whatever I'm working on at the moment. The one thing that I didn't have that I was hoping to make for the trip was a, as we Canadians call it, a toque. Your regular old hat, beanie, you know, one of these things. I made this 2x2 ribbed hat on the plane, as well as when we were going up to the mountains in Banff. We were surrounded by all of these beautiful mountains. I love visiting places and finding new favorites. Like when I went to Nova Scotia, we would go to Peggy's Cove and you would see the lighthouse and the huge rocks, the crashing waves. I thought that was like my favorite. I thought that was just so beautiful and like one of my favorites. And then we go up north to Algonquin in Ontario. You have just these beautiful lush forests. I'm like, oh wow, this is my favorite. But now I go to Alberta and the Rocky Mountains and I'm like, oh my gosh, this is my favorite. So I just have to accept that wherever I go and see new landscapes of nature, I'm just in awe and I love it so much. So because I knew I was going up to the mountains for one of the days, I knew that I needed a hat. So I free-handed this hat. There is no pattern for this, and roughly measured how many rib stitches I would need to create a tight circumference around my head. From there, I just knit until I had wide enough of a band, and then knit more into the hat. And then for the decreases at the top, I just divided all of the stitches into 5, and then just very sharply gathered them up to make a really tight curve. And I did that by doing a decrease every round. And luckily that worked out well enough to get a hat that I am in love with. The yarn that I used for this hat was from Knit Picks. This is Wool of the Andes in Firecracker Heather. I used a full skein plus a little bit extra from this skein, and I was able to make this hat. So very, very happy with how this turned out. Fun story, I was going up to Banff on the day that I had finished this hat, realized that the brim, because I wanted it to be really thick across here, was too short. And so I had pulled out all of the stitches that I had done to redo it in the car ride there. And granted, we did have a long drive to get from where we were to Banff, but I decided to just try as best as I could to finish the hat, and I didn't finish it in time for getting out of the car, but I brought my baby carrier, put it onto my back, put my 2.5-year-old onto my back, and then put my backpack onto my front. That made a really nice shelf. And I figured, I bet you I could probably knit and walk at the same time. And being very careful, obviously, of not tripping and hurting myself or my child, I was able to walk and knit at the same time. I wish that I had a photo of it because it's just such a funny memory for me to have, but here is an artistic interpretation of what that looked like. I am so happy with how this turned out. I think it just holds a lot of memories of that trip up to Banff and knitting it with my son on my back and just exploring the town all the way up. I was able to complete this first project on the airplane as well as while we were in Calgary, and I am very happy to have it. The last thing that I had started, I don't have a finished garment yet because I was going to make a sweater. And I knew I was probably not going to finish it as much as I wanted to. And also it was very warm when we went. I was sweating for most of the days that we were there. The sun was just shining. It only snowed for one day and it was just a flurry. I don't think I would have been able to wear this sweater, especially because it's using mohair. So the one project that I have been wanting to knit since the beginning of this year is the Clara blouse from Maria's Verden Knitting Patterns. I have only knit one project with mohair before and I absolutely hated it. And knowing that I actually do have mohair that I have and would like to use up, I wanted to see if I paired it with something else, how bad my skin would react. So I did a test. I knit a tiny test square and then I put it against my skin on various parts of my body throughout the day to see if I would be too itchy to use it. Very fortunately, I didn't have any reactions, especially on the places where I thought I would. I usually get itchy around my neck and around my wrists, but I didn't have any itchy inclination, and even while I was knitting with it, I didn't feel it on my hands, which sometimes I do. So I'm not sure if it was just holding it with another yarn that helped me, or if it was just luck of the draw, but I was very happy that I could use up this Mohair that I have. I've been holding it for like the last year, and now I can finally use it for a project. The Mohair that I have, I actually bought from the thrift store, and I bought it for $2.50, and this is from Drops. This is Kid Silk, color number 9, as well as some yarn that I have had for the longest time. This is Knit Picks palette yarn in the color Gosling. It is just a very nice grayish green. And I just thought that these two colors together made a really nice, like almost silver. This is obviously before blocking, so it's not perfect. But I, so far, am still working on the yoke. I thought that I would have more done for this, but I like to have more projects than less, just to keep me busy. But the thing that kept me the most busy was watching over my 2 children. And yeah, that definitely takes up a lot of time. But with all the traveling that we were doing, I would pick this up whenever I could. There were a few times where I would get a little car sick, so I had to put it down. It's so soft, and honestly, it's not irritating my skin at all. Like when I'm knitting with it in my hands, rubbing it against my skin, I don't feel that irritation that I had last time. So I'm hoping that everything will be okay. I really don't want to finish this sweater and then realize I can't wear this at all. It's too itchy. So we're just gonna hope that everything's okay. But I'm really excited to finish that. It's coming together. Mohair everywhere. I'm really excited to finish that project. It's coming together really nicely. And now that I'm home, I'm going to be able to work on it more, especially at night. But the things that I will be working on from now will be redecorating my room. This is just phase 1. I have basically only painted this wall. I have to do some more detail work on the flowers. Right about here is where it looks better. Here, from here on, is behind the door. It's kind of hidden, and that is where I started, and I made the pattern too big. So I decided to shrink it down as I came over here, which is fine with me. I really don't care to repaint this and start all over. It's fine, it'll look fine. But I'm thinking in all of these open spaces that I might add just like a few like little dots and detail work just to fill it out a little bit more. So let me know in the comments what you think. Mohair. Still have this wall, which I'm not sure if I'm going to do flowers on it. I want to have a thread holder on here so I can keep all of my thread so that it's not just in a giant bag. I'm just not sure if all of the colors of thread are going to look too chaotic against this flower background. So what I'm thinking is I'm going to make the thread holder first, put it up against the flower background, and see if I like it. If I do, then I'll paint this wall, and all of the walls basically. If I don't, then I will keep this wall fairly plain and might just do some pinstripes down it, maybe with the red. We're still figuring it out. It's a work in progress. There are so many projects that I need to accomplish for this room, but I'll be showing little snippets of it on my shorts, on Instagram, on TikTok, wherever you watch your short form content. It is a labor of love, and I hope to be finished and have a room that I will love to come in and create. But until then, we have a lot of work to do. I've got my work cut out for me, but I'm really excited to share it with all of you. You can find all of the updates on my Instagram and TikTok, as well as all the bigger projects and updates I'm going to share with you on this platform. So make sure that you subscribe, like this video, and until next time, I hope you have a wonderful day. Bye.